Random thought. When you think of hip hop, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
A lot. It's loaded. Loaded question.
Loaded question. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, episode 133. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
You know, as we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, right? This year, you got to think that this was supposed to be a fad. Oh, it's going to be around for a little while. It'll be over. We'll be back to doing what they normally do, right? But no, here it is. 50 years later, 50 years strong. And it's been one of the top music genres for a while, as a matter of fact, top selling genres, right? That may have changed recently in the last year or two or three, but for a long time, it was that strong. And the question that we're asking today is, so when you think of this 50 years of hip hop, what comes to mind for you?
I mean, for me, for someone that's not a hip hop head, I don't know all the things, right? I don't really pay attention to a whole lot of music, but what I think about is when I was a kid, the first time I heard the Sugar Hill Gang, and I remember it was the Apache song that Will Smith and ruined, but yet made it good, but kind of ruined it. It was dope back then. I think about the breakdance era, right? Because I was in a breakdance group when I was a kid, and so anytime I saw something that had breakdancing in it, in a video or whatever, I couldn't wait, or movie, I couldn't wait to watch it. Flashdance even had a little breakdancing scene that I was like, "Ooh, they're breakdancing."
Yeah, remember they always threw one breakdancer in. Do a head spin real quick. Spin on your head real quick and stop.
Yeah. And then I remember Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie was the first song that I heard that had a cuss word in it. And I was just like, what? Like, we can't let mom hear this. You know, back on the cassette, you had to like play that when she went to bed. Right. So that's the thing that I think of initially when I think about hip hop.
Man, when you say that about you can't let her hear this, that reminds me of when watching a movie on HBO Cinemax, and he goes, the following feature is rated, and just turn it down. So in the next room, they can't hear what is rated, and Granny would come out, hear something. Wait, what is this? It's PG, Granny. It's fine. Oh, couldn't do that to my mom. My mom would be like, wait a minute. But I said, for hip hop, for me, man, when I think of hip hop, the first song that made me really like hip hop, because I wasn't a hip hop head, right? There are people who like grew up loving hip hop immediately. I wasn't one of those people, right? And the song that did it for me, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Girls of the World Ain't Nothing But Trouble. And go figure, right? That's the song that does it. But I mean, there's so many memorable moments along the way in hip hop, right? You talk about the explicit language. Remember, Uncle Luke is the reason why we have the explicit content sticker on because there was no restrictions on that before. You just knew somebody said a curse word on an album. You just knew where it was. Make sure you don't play that part. That's it. But then when he made it all about it, they're like, wait a minute. And that changed the trajectory of what happened since then, right? But I also think of like favorite hip hop songs, right? Like my favorite hip hop love song, Method Man and Mary J. Blige, All I Need, and especially the video version one. Because if you think about the video version one, that's the one that invented the backwards head nod, because everybody used to, bob their head like this before, but in that video, it's actually a backwards head nod. And it's a slight difference, but it's like those are the little things, right? Favorite group of all time, Outkast.
Backwards head nod? No. Head nod.
Okay. You see, if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, I suggest you come to YouTube and watch this.
Sorry, I was just like, I don't get it. Just see, I did both right then, and it looks the exact same. Right, go ahead.
Tell me I'm not the only one. Tell Terrell I'm not crazy in this sense, right?
Educate me. Yeah, I was just like, looks the same to me. Exact same.
Let us know what is the hip hop when you think of hip hop. What comes to mind for you? I mean, whether it's favorite group, favorite first song that made you fall in love with hip hop. I feel like we're in the movie Brown Sugar right now. When did you know you fell in love with hip hop? Let us know.
For me, it was a lot of when I did pay attention to it, and I would hear from other people like, "Hey, this is hot." I'm like, "Oh, let me hear it."
Right.
Okay, now I'm into it, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was in high school, I think the first time I heard Onyx, had this one dude that we would like pick each other up for school, and he was like, "Yo, you got to hear this." And that's the first time I heard Slam, and I was just like, "Oh, this is funky. I like it."
Yeah.
And then was it 92, 93 when The Chronic came out?
Yeah.
That was just a game changer.
Classic album.
That was a game changer because I was like, "Oh my goodness, this stuff is amazing." But then for me, it wasn't always the lyrics; it was more the beat. Mm-hmm. And then as I was in college and doing the whole fraternity thing, it was songs that got us hyped to go stroll, either around the yard, around the club, around the party. Certain songs, like anytime I hear, I think it's is it the Rockwilder from?
Yep. Method Man and Redman.
Mm-hmm. That one, it just does something, outside of Pistol Grip Pump at that time. But and now Microphone Check, I guess, is the alpha songs. I don't think it was when I was in 97. Mm-hmm. But as I got older, and all these weird artists started coming out with the mumble raps and all that type of stuff, that I started hearing the lyrics, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to all the old stuff.
Right.
So I really don't listen to a lot of the new stuff. It's a lot of the old stuff that I listen to because like I get it, I can relate to it, brings back memories. So I just kind of, when I hear about new artists or whatever, people ask me, who so and so is? So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was like, well, who little what do you say, little Boosie, little somebody. He goes, you know what that is, right? I'm like, yeah, it's a rapper. And he was like, well, of course. It's a rapper just based on the name. It's not like he's like, yeah, he's this awesome violinist. Whatever. I was just like, yeah, it's a rapper. But I had no clue who he was talking about. But I was just like, has to be a rapper.
Right. Well, it's interesting too because I remember when I was reading for my master's, right, and I walked into class one day and this guy's like, yeah, man, I love hip hop, man, but these rappers today, just such and such and such. And say, hold up, let me ask you a question. What did your parents think of Biggie and Pac? Because you like Biggie and Pac, right? He's like, yeah. So what they think of it? He said, oh, they thought it was, I thought it was all this. Exactly. You're getting old. That's all it is. And you just got to, the difference is that we are the age that the people that were our age when we were young, they were old as shit. They were old and they were old school in their mind. And to us, we're not that. Because we are now that age. Remember when you first turned 30, you were like, man, it's not that bad. But when you were 18, 30 was old as crap.
Right.
You got, and music is the same thing. It changes along the way. There's certain ones that keep the same thing, but hip hop has evolved over the years into its different creations of it. And you remember, it went from the drug dealers to the drug users now. If you really think of the content, it's gone so many different ways, but it's like, it's the art of expression. And we can say, I think part of it now has even gotten to where it's just a money grab. And you can see it, but there's still some out there who know how to at least change it up a little bit. So you just got to seek it out. There's enough out there to get what you want out of it. And if that doesn't work, there's always the good old stuff. You need a good storyteller. There's Notorious B.I.G., there's Eminem, there's also Slick Rick, if you want to go back that far.
Well, true. And I still say KRS-One. I love his stories. But I think I'm going to be that person 60s, 70s, cleaning out the garage, washing my car, blasting the Chronic.
Yeah.
Or something from my era of the early or late 90s. God, 90s to 2000. It was kind of fire for a bit. So I'd probably be blasting something like that. I'd be 70 years old. Grilling, barbecuing, and just playing some old school stuff, some Puffy.
You'll be 70 years old, right? And at a cookout with generations there, where some people our age will have their grandkids, maybe even their great grandkids out there playing around, but the grandkids of their teens are young, and all of a sudden Juvenile back that ass comes up, and then that 60-year-old woman's gonna get up and back that ass up.
Throw that hip out. Throw that hip out at the same time.
Remember how they were for Frankie Beverly and Maze? That's gonna be you for Juvenile. Back that ass up.
At minimum, if we're too old to dance, if we hear Yin Yang Twins to the windows, to the wall. From our wheelchairs, we'll just be like, to the wall.
Oh my God. Hilarious, man. Hey, 50 years of hip hop. Salute, because, looking to another 50 years. And, they say history repeats itself. Hopefully we get back to the lyricism. Seriously, quickly.
One day.
One day. Hopefully that would be tomorrow. Crazy story happening down on your side of the world, not even the side of the country, because we know Texas is another country on its own. So in the great state of Houston, in the country of Texas, what's going on, man?
So this story, it just took off about a week ago. And it's just gotten crazier and crazier almost every day. So a lot of us here in Texas, we're paying attention because this is like, there's more to this story. So alert goes out that there was this young man by the name of Rudy Farias who went missing in March 2015.
Right.
So he'd been missing for 8 years. And all of a sudden they found him outside of a church 8 miles away from his house.
How?
And so you're like, what? That's weird. Glad they found him. I mean, could you imagine being a parent that, your kid goes missing?
Mm-hmm.
You never give up hope, until they find a body. You never really give up hope. So you're thinking that this is one of those awesome stories, family reunited.
Right.
But a lot of people had questions. And then as more stuff started coming out, there were investigators, there were PIs that were involved in this from the whole time. There's a lot of different social nonprofit groups that never stopped the search for missing children.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been people who've been invested in this thing for 8 years.
Right.
Well, come to find out, he did go missing March 2015, but he ran away and came home the next day and has been at the house.
So he didn't run away.
Years.
He just stayed away. If you come back the next day, that's not a runaway.
Yeah. He ran away and
like,
came back home 24 hours.
Yeah.
But has been home the whole time.
Wow.
But the mom has done, they've been doing all these GoFundMes and all these different things for years. And then people were saying, well, no, that's your son right there. No, that's not my son. That was my nephew that you saw. My son has been missing. And so after he came back and all these crazy stories came back out, Houston PD had been investigating and they're talking to the neighbors. Neighbors like, he was missing? I've been seeing him here the whole time. Like every now and then he comes in my garage and hangs out with my kids. Like, what are you talking about? And it is just insane that this has been happening. So far, no charges pressed on the mom yet, but I think they're going to be. Wow. And when they did find him, of course, their news media and everybody's digging into this. They're meeting with the mom and the kid. The mom doesn't want to separate herself from the kid, but apparently the mom has been catfishing people where she created separate Facebook pages of hers. The picture is not her. When she reported him missing, the picture, they always ask for a Bruce Weeshan picture. Mm-hmm. She gave him a picture of him when he was 14, and said that he was actually 17, when in reality he was 18. So he's 25 now. And so
this is wild.
There's that. Apparently that, she made him sleep with him in the bed and called him dad. Like, it is just getting more and more insane. And people are like saying, well, he was a victim. But you're like, okay, he was grown. Mm-hmm. By the time he was 21, he could have left. He obviously had free range to roam around the neighborhood because everyone's been seeing him around the neighborhood. So we just can't wrap our minds around all of this. And right now, everybody's like, when is she going to get arrested and go to jail?
Yeah, because, there's so many things wrong here. And it feels like, fraud cases all over, especially if you've been doing GoFundMes and all this. That's crazy. Wow.
It's insane. And you would think that he's, potentially, it sounds to me like he's a victim. Again, you can't really close the door on anything of these stories because it keeps changing. But it sounds to me like he's a victim. And you keep hearing that maybe he's challenged or maybe had some special needs. Right. But also, one of the people who are part of these groups that are trying to find him, when she met him, he was laying in the back seat of the mom's car, vaping on the vape pen, chilling. So I don't think his special needs to be that heavy. I have no idea.
This is
It's just
wild.
a crazy story. And so when they first found him, went to the hospital, he went back, wanted to stay with his mom. Well, then now within a week, he's changed his mind. He doesn't want to stay with his mom anymore and wants to be separate himself from her. Now he's living with his aunt.
So I mean, because he's 25.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot more to this, and we'll definitely keep on. You got to keep us updated on this one because this is wild. This is wow.
Yeah,
I'm
it's just
scratching
been. I
my
mean,
head.
that's all we've been messages going back and forth. People like sending each news story that comes out.
So real life
Vloggers that are local here.
soap
It's
opera, huh?
crazy. It's a Lifetime movie.
Y-
I'm sure they're gonna make a movie out of this one.
You know what? There you go, and that's what it is. Because
You got people on a writer's strike just waiting, just taking notes. Like when we get off the strike, I
I've
might
got
have the script.
I've got this. I've got the script I've been working on. Well, this is almost like a movie in this sense too, as we get to For the Love of Sports. And a couple of years ago, it was a sad tale, sort of. It looked like it was going to be the highs, and then all of a sudden, literally, some high came in with some marijuana, and then became the lows of Sha'Carri Richardson, right? And then she missed the Olympics because of that. And really and truly, she could have actually made it, but they chose not to make her an alternate on the team, and now she's on her way back. And it probably is a good thing they didn't, right? And probably for her in the long run. She got a lot of attention, not a lot of it great, but she's always had her supporters, and she's always had her detractors. I'm not a big fan, but I respect the hustle and the work she's put in to get back. And last year, she kind of made some waves coming back and winning in a Diamond League, and that was great. And people said, "Oh, she's back." I'm like, "Yeah, well, let's see. Can she sustain it?" And so far, she really has been. Just today's Saturday that we're recording this, right? So tonight she's going to participate in the 200 meters. But last night, 100 meters, USA Track and Field Championships. Early races, she set one the time, I think, in the first race, in her prelims, she set the fastest time for a woman sprinter in the 100 meters for 2023. At least until Sharika Jackson ran in Jamaica and blew that one out the water. But again, she set that. Then she ended up winning the 100-meter finals of the USA Track and Field Championship. So she's a 100-meter champion. And, she really had some things to say after she got done with the race. She was talking to Lewis Johnson, who was always there talking to the runners as soon as they finished racing. And one of the things I thought she did pretty smooth, too, she went up in the stands immediately. Celebrate with some people first, with family, and then came back down. So at least she had her breath back a little bit. Still out of breath, though, because she just poured her heart out 3 races in a row for 100 meters. And here's what she had to say.
I'm ready, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yeah. And I'm here to stay. I'm not back, I'm better.
She's not back, she's better. I like that.
Okay, it sounds great. So let me just say this. Let me just say this. One, I was right. I'd said a long time ago, take that wig off, and maybe that's gonna help. And apparently, she won, right?
Well,
Number 2.
Let's be clear. She had the wig on for the first 2 races, and then, of course, right before the start of the 3rd race, the finals, she rips the wig off and shows that she has braids under there, and won.
Out of the first 3 races, which one was the most important?
Which one did she run the fastest? The first one. Yeah. But the last one was the most important.
Was the finals.
Yes.
Right. So.
Touche.
Yeah. So kudos for her work ethic and all that to get there. I'm still not sold on her for 2 reasons. One, you haven't beat Jamaica. And that's the hurdle that she needs to get over.
Yep.
I should say 3 reasons. 2, I want to see how she does tonight in the 200 because if Abby Steiner's running in the 200, that will be a really awesome race to see.
Right.
Number 3, she's still kind of I put her in the negative Nancy category. If you know that you need to turn your thing around, create your new story, rebuild yourself, rebuild your character, stop talking trash about everything, other stuff. So every time that she's lost and all that, she'd bring up something. And even here, she won. And then what did she want to bring up was an issue. that she thought should be addressed.
Well, let's be clear though. This is not something that she just brought up just right now. She's been talking about this for a while too, and it's about the way the USA track and field committee is treating their athletes. She doesn't feel it's fair. They're not paying them enough. Like even for this championships, the winner gets $8,000, but at the same time, Joey Chestnut ate 60-something hot dogs and got $10,000, and his was broadcast on ESPN. Well, here's been a big problem about the track and field right now. This is especially when you have this kind of, they have a chance to be bigger again, like they were before, right? It's no longer on NBC. For the first time since I want to say 2003, it's not on being broadcast on NBC, the championships. And then it's either on Peacock, so you got to pay to get to it. And notice Peacock is NBC's doing a lot of that too. Even Notre Dame games, they're putting behind that paywall of Peacock, right? Because you just can't, you have to pay to see it. Or USATF.TV, which had big streaming problems. People missed a lot of races and they had to pay to watch it on that anyway. Problem. So I agree, and even one of the things she tweeted was, don't pay to watch anything on this. If you support the athletes, don't do this. Is it negative Nancy? No. She's fighting, and she has a lot of athletes supporting her in this too.
Well, that's great, but the thing is, no one gives a shit about track and field until the summer games or the people that are really into it.
Right.
No one really cares.
Right.
That's like saying the WNBA should be paying women more. Yeah, they should, but they don't get enough people watching it to generate enough revenue to pay people more. Now, do they have money that they're probably keeping and doing other stuff with? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. It's an organization like anyone else, but no one.
Yeah.
They're not getting millions of views watching it. And Summer Olympics, it does. And it's always like the big person, the big name. You look at Usain Bolt, and it was him, Tyson Gay when he was in his heyday. We would watch all that. But we watched the summer games.
Right.
I didn't watch any other random race that they did. You know, I didn't care. I'll wait to see y'all in 4 years. Awesome. You know, and that's it. And so, I mean, I think you have to think bigger. And so the way that she's going about it, and it's her platform, she can say whatever she wants. All I'm saying is, let's see you get back on the main stage. And then once you get back on the main stage, you have some pull. Right now, she doesn't have enough pull to motivate anybody to do anything different.
Here's what I like about it. It's not just about her, because she's going to be fine. She has the endorsements. She has the money coming in. When everything happened the last time, she still made money. She's making, I want to say they said her net worth is somewhere between $1 and $5 million right now, right? Of course, you can Google that stuff and see, and it's just a little bit, right? She's got money. It's not just for her.
Right.
It's for everybody. And not everybody's going to make the money she's making.
No. And the people that make the money are the what? Winners.
Yes.
So that's what people pay money for. Are
sprinkles
winners.
off of winners.
Exactly. Yeah. So you get more big winners to go on some of these, these tournaments or these track meets to maybe get more people to want to view them and watch them. And that'll help the other people get their sprinkles. But again, if these people don't even make it to the Olympics, no one cares.
Right. That's a good point. Good point. Don't have me out here defending Sha'Carri. I'm not a Sha'Carri fan. I think Sharika Jackson and the Jamaicans are going to dust her ass when they get into the World Championships. It's going to be fun to watch. But I like when she's there because it brings eyes to the sport, and I love track and field. I ran track and field. So I ran track, did some of the field events. Wasn't the best at any of them. So, but I still love to watch it.
I would love to see her beat the Jamaicans in the 100 and get the gold medal. But then my concern for her is, will her personality come out and go right back down the drain?
Yes.
And we'll be right back where we were. Then she's going to blame other folks, and it's not her fault. It's like a lot of your problems have been you problems.
Yes.
But you can point and throw out distractions about U.S. track and all that. Focus on winning, dominate, beat the Jamaicans, get the gold, and then you have the right to talk a lot of trash, respectfully. But you got the right to talk a lot of trash. Right now, you don't. You're still trying to get there, right? It's like the Buffalo Bills. They've been good for a long time. Haven't got to the Super Bowl, so no one gives a shit except Buffalo Bills fans. But until they finally cross that hurdle, We're gonna be like, hey, they're gonna be in the playoffs. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, good point. Great point. And yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I like it. As we get to this bullshit, man, it's been all over the blogs. You've seen Usher with his residency in Vegas. The stars show up. They all come to his show. He's got a great show, from what I've heard. I've never even been to Vegas, so I haven't been to the show. I got to meet Usher a couple months ago when he was here in Atlanta for a quick second. But Keke Palmer's at the show, and she goes on stage, and Usher does what he does, and she's wearing a very revealing outfit, see-through. See her booty cheeks out because she's got on her thong, and her kid's father has an issue. Goes on social media. First mistake. Stay off social media. But goes on there. It's the outfit for me. And you're a mom, though. What does that have to do with it? She's on stage with Usher, playing up to the crowd. That's what you do. She's an actress. Usher's an artist. He's a performer. What's the big deal? She's not the first person he's done it to. Why are you mad?
They're not still together, are they?
I think they're still together. He deleted.
Oh, so they were together. I thought they'd maybe this is why he was lashing out. Because then I'm with you. I don't understand what his issue is. I mean, Usher puts on a great show. He did a private show for our company.
Nice.
And it was in New York. The people that were local got a chance to go, but the rest of the company, no matter what position you were, from the janitor to the executives, we could stream it and watch it. It was a pretty good show.
Were you
right?
in New York that time? Just like, hey, I'll work out of this office today.
Nope. I'm like, nope, I'm out of the Austin branch, so guess I can't go. I was just sitting here sipping vodka watching. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And then I went on about my life.
Right.
But one thing I do know is Usher's an entertainer. Keke, as an actress and celeb, a lot of times when they go out and they go to concerts, they dress a certain way. When her baby daddy met her, she wasn't dressed like, Little House on the Prairie with dresses up to her neck and all the way down. She dressed a certain way, and that's what you liked about her.
Right.
But this is what they always do. So I'm wondering, where's this coming from? Did Usher sleep with someone else that you've dated that you really liked, and so now you feel threatened? And it's just a show. I mean, even if you're married, and you could just be, if I'm married, right? And Usher's dancing and points out, hey, you come, like, babe, get on up there. Look at the camera, and she can twerk and whatever, and it's Usher. Great. I know she's coming home with me. And if she doesn't and decides to go home with Usher, I'm like, well, I get it. Can't be mad.
You're like, hey, we're fine. I'm taking pictures. Wait, hey, do not go to the back of the stage. You get your ass back off the front.
I'd be like, all right, so we're over? Okay. I mean, that'd be a cool story. I'd be right here on the podcast. Terrell, so your divorce, what happened? My wife cheated. Oh, man, what happened? She cheated with Usher. What? I'd be like, I know, right?
No, that's what you go, Usher, no, look. Now you got to pay me to take her back. I'm not taking her back till you pay me. I need $500,000 down payment.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is, but I think there's a deeper issue within him that he feels that upset and that threatened by Usher. Like, get over it.
It's amazing how guys are getting this upset about it, right? And in that space, because even in the barbershop, a barber was like, well, no, because if my girl, I'm like, it's Usher. She's a performer. They're on stage. It's not that. And here's the thing about Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer's always been over the top. You see her on social media, she's always over the top. Over the top, and just her, if she's telling a story, her impersonations of Angela Bassett, they're great. But you see, she's over the top. I couldn't be in a relationship with Keke Palmer, one, because I'm married, but two, like, you're damn right you should. But no, two, because you probably get down there, hey, babe, what's for breakfast? Well, we're going to have some eggs. And you probably over the top. You're just like, Jesus Christ, I just wanted a cup of coffee. That's it.
Yeah.
She just seems very over the top. So if you know this, why are you worried? And why is it such a big issue? What is the real problem?
Right. something bigger is going on there. I mean, I get it. You know, you're a mom and all that. I'm like, okay, great. Her last name is Palmer. It's not Winans. You know, her parents aren't BB and CC, and she's embarrassing the family. Like,
Right.
calm it down.
Yeah.
She's just being who she has been
Mm-hmm.
before she was with you,
Mm-hmm.
since she's been with you,
Mm-hmm.
since having a baby with you.
Mhm.
She's been the same person.
Mm-hmm.
So, what triggered you? And I don't think it's your wife. I think the call is coming from inside the house. You're upset about something that maybe you're feeling about you.
And the worst thing you can do when you're upset with your significant other or your baby mama or your baby daddy is pick up the phone, type some characters in, and hit post. Stop it.
Yeah. Well, he gonna learn.
You're going to learn today.
He gonna learn. Because
Oh,
the key is his baby mama, not his wife.
yes, exactly.
So she's like, hey, if you don't like
That
it,
part.
you can go.
That
I'll still
part.
take care of the baby. I'm
And
good.
she's the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Go on. What you here for?
Yeah.
You already did your part. Go on.
Yeah, got the baby. I'm good. I can get someone else to do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's not gonna give me crap about what I wear. Yeah.
Matter of fact, hey Usher, what you doing? That's why he'll never win that argument, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
All you gotta do,
Yeah.
put on some Usher on there. Let it burn. All of a sudden, son of a. Oh, speaking of Usher, by the way, he's got when he drops his next album, crazy. The tracks that I got a chance to listen to, amazing. But
No, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, you might.
It's a nice break because remember when Usher was dropping like an album a week?
Yeah.
And you were just like, okay, this is great. I just need a break, man. You're good. You're amazing. I just need a break. And I feel like we've had enough time of a break where we're ready for the next Usher album to drop. So let's do it.
Hey,
Do we still say Usher album? Do y'all still say that in the
yeah.
industry, even though they don't make albums really anymore? Is it?
They do make albums. It's all
They do?
street-
Okay.
But you know they don't make vinyl anymore. They don't, you know, but yeah, they're still albums. I mean,
You still call it? Got it.
yeah.
Just want to make sure I was just using the lingo properly. I want to say, when's the next Usher record coming
Now
out?
record might be a little different. Now that while there's still folks in the industry using it, that's a very dated term.
Yeah, can you burn me a tape of the
I need something to put in my cassette deck. Oh man, hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit from the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.